Hello, welcome. This is the Resilient Rooster, and I'm bringing you some of my tech cards for this February format. With such a diverse meta, it's kind of hard to put a finger on what to side and what to main. This list will contain mostly side deck cards, but there'll probably be one card that could be main worthy. This list will also be assuming that there's no banlist before Nats and that Flame of Destruction is out. So let's get started. The first one on my list is going to be Kinetic Puppeteer, and this is a light psychic level 4 monster, and it has the effect where you can send it from the hand or field to the graveyard and then target one of your monsters that your opponent controls and move it to one of their main monster zone. So to take this in context, you can basically move their Electromite if it was in their extra monster zone and move it to their main monster zone. That means that they can't pendulum summon 2 extra monsters from their extra deck, which they use to make the Electrum in the first place. And most of the time, if a Pendulum Magician uses their normal summon, they can't really recover from making another Electromite without Pendulum summoning. So I feel like this is maybe a good choice for it. I feel with the release of the Troymare, the Link mechanic will probably get out of hand a little bit, and I feel like this card can help interrupt those plays. I know that Troymare Goblin prevents them from being targeted, but if you use it like at the right time, you can probably stop them from even coming out. I know that the Goblin has 2 arrows pointing left and right, and you usually don't put that in the extra monster zone. You would put it in the main monster zone. So I'm assuming that they're making plays before they get into this card, and I feel like you could try to stop them before they even get that far. So that's one of my tech options for that deck. The next tech I have is Instant Fusion. So if you pay 1,000 life points, you can basically special summon a level 5 or lower fusion monster from your extra deck to the field. And the 2 cards you're most likely going to use it on is the Thousand Eye Restrict and the Millennium Eye Restrict. The Thousand Eye Restrict basically lets you steal an opponent's monster and equip it, and the Millennium Eye Restrict basically negates a monster effect if they activate it. So it stops hand traps, and it can stop any problematic monster cards that is a quick effect. The card you brought out also counts as a fusion summon. So that means that if the card ever leaves the field and you have cards to bring it back, it's possible just to bring it back. So for example, a Black Fang Magician can bring back a Spellcaster if it gets destroyed by a card effect. So if it gets destroyed by a card effect, you can just bring back whatever you instant fusion back. So that's pretty cool. And the good part too is that when you're done using it, you could just link it out to Link Karibo, and you have another monster zone where you can just special summon. So it doesn't really waste that much, but the bad part is you do waste some of the cards in your extra deck. So keep that in mind when you add it to your deck. For my third tech option, it's going to be the End of Anubis. And the End of Anubis is a level 6 Dark Fiend type monster, and it basically has the power to negate all graveyard effects. So if a card activates in the graveyard or targets in the graveyard, it's basically negated. So this card basically stops True Draco's spells and traps from working. It stops Paleo monsters from working. It stops the Shaddoll Dinos. It stops Lightsworns. It stops a lot of things. And I feel that this is a very good side deck card for those decks. It might be a level 6 card, but you can special summon by making a Skull Dread. And hopefully your Skull Dread can help you draw this card and help you special summon it just to lock your opponent out. I feel like this is a very good card moving forward in the future. The next card on my list is going to be Mind Control. So Mind Control is basically a change of heart, except you can't attack with it and you can't tribute it. So what Mind Control allows you to do is basically steal a problematic monster, and your opponent basically has to negate it or just lets you take it. So it's going to be a hard decision for them. And this card's not once per turn, so you can just, if you have 3 copies, you can use all 3 and just link it away. The new Link mechanic basically helped this card out, because before, if you can't tribute it, you basically have to exi or synchro, and that's kind of situational. With links, it's kind of more generic, so it's easier to get rid of your opponent's cards. So I feel like this card is a very good card for the format. The last spot is going to go to Magical Springs. I feel that this card is very good against any deck that uses a lot of face-up spells and traps. So the biggest 2 that I see is Pendulum Magician and True Draco. For Pendulum Magician, you can basically stop them from using the Electromite effect to destroy their cards. It also can stop the FTK from happening. This really stops them from going off, and it buys you a turn, and it also lets you draw cards too. Most of the time, if you use this against Pendulum Magician, you're going to be drawing 2 and discarding 1. And that basically just helps your hand out. And it also slows down True Draco, because if they can't destroy their own spells and traps with Diagram, then they can't really use Heritage. And usually that's basically how they draw. And the good part too is it's a quick play spell, so you can just chain it. At the very right moment, the moment that they need to blow up their scales, you just chain it, and you usually could win the game if you use it at the right time. But one thing you have to keep in mind though is if you use this card, you can't Twin Twister their back row because you can't destroy it until the end of the next turn. So keep that in mind when you use this card. So that's some of my tech for this current format. Comment down below what's some of your tech for this format. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button. If you want to see more Yu-Gi-Oh content, please click the subscribe button. Thank you for watching and have a great day.